Hello everyone, today I'm going to tell you about one of the most terrifying experiences of my life. It happened deep in British Columbia, Canada, on a night when the fog was so thick it felt alive. I was in the passenger seat, Ethan was driving, and Mia and Daniel were in the back. We were heading to a lakeside cabin for a weekend trip. It should have been peaceful. But something about that stretch of road felt wrong, too quiet, like the forest itself was holding its breath. Then, it darted across the road. Something pale. Thin. The size of a child but moving on all fours. Its head snapped toward us for a split second, and I swear its eyes glowed faintly. Ethan swore loudly, jerked the wheel, and the SUV spun out. Tires screamed, metal crunched, and my seatbelt dug into my ribs as the world tilted sideways. When we finally stopped, the hood was steaming. We were in one piece, or so we thought. That's when I saw it. Through the fog ahead, a building began to take shape. Huge, with dim yellow lights glowing behind grimy windows. My stomach dropped. It wasn't on the ground. It was floating, swaying slightly in the mist. A faded sign read, St. Dymphna's Memorial Hospital. And in the doorway, a nurse in a pale blue uniform stood perfectly still, watching us. Her face was ghostly white, her lips thin. She raised one hand and beckoned slowly. "You're hurt," she said. Her voice was flat, yet it seemed to slip right into my head. "Come inside." I don't know why we listened. We should have driven away. But my legs moved on their own, like strings pulling me forward. Inside, the air was freezing. My breath fogged instantly. The hallway stretched impossibly far, peeling green paint curling off the walls. The lights overhead flickered, buzzing faintly. And then I noticed, there were beds pushed against the walls, each one holding a shape under a thin white sheet. None of them moved. We were split up almost immediately. Ethan and Daniel were taken into separate rooms. A nurse led Mia and me down a narrow corridor where the smell was unbearable, a mix of disinfectant and something sweet, like rotting fruit. In my room, the doctor was waiting. His white coat was spotless, but his skin was wrong, loose and slightly sagging, as if it didn't belong to him. His eyes were milky and unblinking. "Sit," he said, and when I did, his freezing hands pressed a stethoscope against my chest. "You have a very strong heart," he whispered, and his lips curled into something that wasn't a smile. "It would be perfect." He turned and left, leaving me shaking. That was when I heard it, the crying. A woman, somewhere in the hospital, sobbing so hard it tore at my chest. It wasn't faint. It was close. Always close. The next hour was a nightmare. Mia burst into my room pale and trembling. She said she had seen something crawling on the ceiling, its head twitching violently. Ethan later told us a gurney rolled past him with a covered body, until the sheet slid off and a face, burned and blistered, locked eyes with him. Daniel swore he found an elevator that opened onto a corridor lined with hospital beds, and every bed held a corpse with eyes wide open, staring at him. We tried to leave. Every door led to another hallway. Every staircase looped back to the same floor. At one point, I turned a corner and saw the nurse again, head tilted, eyes wide, mouth stretching open far too much, teeth sharp and glistening. Daniel broke first. "I'm done," he yelled. "I don't care where this leads, I'm getting out." He ran, and we chased him. The lights went out. Something brushed my neck, fingers, cold and wet. When the lights came back, Daniel was gone. We never saw him again. Mia, Ethan, and I finally found a stairwell. We climbed, our footsteps echoing. Behind us, The crying grew louder, then turned into laughter. When we pushed open a door at the top, we were outside. No hospital. No nurse. Just the fog thinning around our wrecked SUV. We drove until the road turned clear. We didn't speak. A week later, I found the truth. St. Dymphna's burned down in 1978. Over 50 patients and nearly all the staff died. Survivors claimed the staff locked the exits, insisting the patients weren't ready to leave. Some whispered about experiments, organs taken while patients were alive. The building was demolished. But locals say it still appears in the fog. If you enter, you'll never leave. And sometimes, when I'm alone at night, I hear that same crying. It's always just around the next corner.